Wow. And that is an understatement. Every time, I look at the price of internet computer, the more shocked I get based off of, what it has been able to achieve in such a short span of time. And I could not be more happier for the internet computer family because just a few days back before this major breakout, remember that confirmation level that I was talking to you guys about. I was saying yes, internet computer is showing significant strength right now, but we need to get back above this level before things can start getting exciting. It went beyond my expectations, and it went beyond everyone's expectations, in my opinion. We're going to take a closer look and see what's happening with internet computer. Again, to the people that have been accumulating internet computer while there was extreme fear across the board, give yourself a pat on the back. I am so happy for you guys. You guys truly deserve it. And again, this tells you that opportunity is always there in the crypto space. It just depends on, what you're doing. And again, in this space, there will be great opportunities. But again, if you are position well, if you understand how the market works, you will end up doing well. Again, as long as you've done your due diligence research and have invested what you can afford to lose. If you've not done that, then it's not good. And this is where your due diligence portion comes into play. And it's very, very important. Again, shakeouts always happen, major retracements always happen. That's part of the game. Again, you don't want to be one of those weak hands. Again, as long as you've done those three things, then patience is your number one key to follow, especially if you believe in the project. And Internet Computer Family truly believes in this project, which I'm going to actually touch on a little later in this update. But again, if you're looking at the price right now, guys, $9.20, up 6.9% on the USC side of things. It's up 6.4% on the Bitcoin side of things. Valuation approaching $5 billion dollars, and the 24-hour trading volume at $1.7 billion dollars, literally through the roof at this point. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. Take a look at the TVL. 29 million, but look at the DEX volume for the chain itself. It's increasing because of course the native token is increasing. That means on-chain activity is going to increase. You could see for yourself here, pretty much all the protocols at this point are seeing major upside, as you can see across the board. So anyone that has been diving into ICP along with the protocols, I'm sure you guys are doing quite well right now, and I could not be more happier for the internet computer family, and I'm going to share why I say that. But again, if you're looking at the dominance continuing to show weakness, which is a good sign. And as I highlighted to you guys earlier yesterday, for the internet computer update, I said the major green that we're seeing is due to why am I saying internet computer? Due to the dominance pulling down. Again, that was the major catalyst because let's face it right now, people overlook Bitcoin, and you don't want to be doing that, guys. You don't want to be doing that. You want to take a close look at Bitcoin because Bitcoin is showing weakness, believe it or not. I know that is shocking because you guys are looking at the market. You guys are looking at double-digit gainers across the board, and you guys are scratching your head. Crypto ZX, what are you talking about? The entire market is looking great, and yet you're saying Bitcoin is showing weakness? Exactly. That is exactly what Bitcoin is doing because Bitcoin is literally only at $102,355. If this support does not hold, back we go down to the 100K key range, potentially break even lower than that key range. What does that mean for the dominance? Hopefully, the dominance stays around here, but most of the time, dominance does tend to start picking back up once you do see these types of retracements. So that's why Bitcoin is so important. But I highlighted this in some of my other updates as well. If Bitcoin stays stagnant and tries to consolidate within this range, maybe we do see the dominance starting to pull down more and more. That gives altcoins more of a room to push. But with that said, let's take a look at what's happening with internet computer. But before we do that, like I said, I wanted to start off by saying, internet computer family, and the holders, the true holders, they are very powerful. And what I mean by that is, regardless of the price being at $20, regardless of the price being at $1, $3, What I notice about the internet computer holders is that they're passionate and they understand that, they believe in the project. At the end of the day, risk factor is always going to be there. If someone is coming and telling you, oh, by the way, XXX or XYZ coin or whatever the case is, I'm just making this up. These coins are going to give you crazy gains, but there's no risk associated to it. That is crazy to hear. When you go into crypto, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, internet computer, XRP, whatever the case may be, everything has risk associated to it. And but internet computer believers, they believe in the project itself, they believe in what the project is doing, and the potential that it has for itself. Yes, as I've stated to you guys before, this project is far away from the leaders in the market right now, but that does not mean, who knows what the future holds. That does not mean it can get to that level. It is very unique in its own aspect. But again, remember, I talked to you guys about the tokenomics. I talked to you about the tokenomics when the price was still hovering around here. And look what happened. So remember, I talked to you guys about how the price needs to be pretty much above, where we were prior to, the major liquidation. That's where we wanted to see the price at. You could see after that, the price pumped up 107%. And we are retesting a level that we have not seen since the beginning of the year. But yeah, I want you guys to understand what internet computer was able to do right now. So look at it for yourself. Look at it for yourself. Just on November 5th, internet computer was sitting at $4.75. Since then, it has doubled. In just the last 3 days, it has doubled. This momentum is absolutely insane. And I talked to you guys about earlier yesterday how this would be the next target to be looking out for. And, we're pretty much clear to get to that key range. But look, this line that I drew for you guys, it's not just a random line that, we're drawing on this chart for you guys. This is a significant resistance. And look at it for yourself, guys. Look at it for yourself. That's exactly where we got rejected. We went up to that key range, saw a rejection, still holding really good. And if we are able to break out of this key resistance, things can start getting exciting for internet computer, in my opinion. But again, very big move for internet computer since the beginning of this month. We're looking at an increase of about 239%, closing into almost getting close to the 3xer for people that were accumulating around that key range. So again, we need to understand how this market tends to move. This project has pumped. There's still a lot of coins that have not pumped. And if this is an altcoin season, if this is the beginning of an altcoin season, again, I'm obviously needing to look for more confirmation on the Bitcoin side of things. I'm sorry, Bitcoin dominant side of things. And of course, Bitcoin needs to show either it starts going back up or, holds stagnant. We cannot see up, down, or, pull back below the 38.2 into, the 0.50. We can't be doing that. We have to see Bitcoin staying stagnant and dominance continuing to pull down. Maybe in that case, Bitcoin might have topped back in October before we see altcoin season occurring, and then back to Bitcoin pretty much picking up steam again. But you need to understand, around this time, remember, our brain tends to think, this is absolutely insane, this is amazing, but again, we need to learn from what has happened before. You can see for yourself, major retracements still do end up happening for altcoins. The entire altcoin market still impacted quite heavily. But this time around, what's really exciting to me for internet computer here is, and as you guys know, your boy, and again, I've said this like in an early update of mine before, this major breakout. I was talking to you guys about how even I could not have thought, if someone came up to me and said, internet computer is going to see a major breakout, I would have, been like, that's very highly unlikely. But this is here's just a perfect example. A tokenomics, even I was ignoring the tokenomics. Unlocks are done. That's huge. A lot of people, have confidence when there's no more unlocks, because of course, when there is more unlocks coming up, that could cause the price to go down because those coins could go on the market. But there's no such thing as that for internet computer. And of course, a huge chunk of internet computer is stake, supply and demand, basic economic rule. And the fact that we retested this key resistance is insane. Breaking above here, I think internet computer could start heading up to $10.52, and breaking above here takes us up to levels we haven't seen since, of course, January 6th. Again, really liking internet computer performance right now. The volume is, something I'm, paying very close attention to. But with that said, I still want you guys to understand, especially the people that have been making insane amount of profits, early comers. Yeah, I'm congratulating you to the people that been buying make sure at least you guys have stop losses in place or take some off of the table if this is too much money that you cannot afford to lose. Obviously, if you're into the long haul, you want to wait your long-term horizon. Of course, if you're in for the long-term horizon, you need to understand that, there is a risk associated to it. But if you're in for the long haul, then patience is your number one key to follow. But again, if you want to make, money in the short term and you're looking at the profits that you're sitting on, make sure you have an exit strategy. You cannot go in this type of momentum with no exit strategy. I promise you that is the worst thing, that can happen. Because our brain can get the best of us in moments like these because you can be like, okay, well, it's this much, it could go higher, this and that, and then at that point, things can go south, especially if big whales start to take profit. So that's what I want you guys to keep in mind. But right now, the fact that we retested this key resistance is massive in my opinion. Breaking above here, I think internet computer could show some interesting things that we have not seen for quite some time, in my opinion. Of course, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Let me know what you guys are doing right now with internet computer. What are your overall price forecasts? Where do you see the price of internet computer going at the end of this year, December 31st? Where do you see one ICP sitting at? Love each and every one of you guys. Thank you for all your support. We'll see you later in crypto, ZX, and peace.